Hey, welcome to Giving Back with Michele and Steve, and I'm Steve Shaw. This is my wife, Michele.
Hi.
We're here today with Garrett Willey, the owner of Do It Right Roofing, and he has a podcast here on BD Local as well. Welcome, Garrett. Nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Garrett. So let's see. Your podcast is Purposeful Life here at BD Local on Mondays, correct?
Yeah, we do like every other Monday because we do like an hour episode.
Nice.
We bring on guests and just talk about things that surround the concept of living with purpose and intention. And it meets my needs of what I do in my life for my why, because I'm teaching and mentoring people and just sharing with one another, you know, and we always learn from it because when the guest is on, just like you guys and like we're all talking,
Exactly.
we get to learn from one another and give and hope to connect with somebody and make a positive impact in their lives. So that's what it's all about.
Right. So let me see what else you have here. So your podcast, I looked at it the other day, and it was all about why and how to find your why. So how do you go along finding your why? Is that a trade secret or?
No. There's several like business coaches and what have you that have discussed that and, you know, try to like narrow it down to find an easy methodology for discovery. The one that I landed on that I like is Simon Sinek. Have you heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
He has several books out. Start with Why is like kind of like the essence of it. You can get the essence or learn more about that by just looking at his TED Talk. So if you type in to Google Simon Sinek TED Talk, you'll find one that's been viewed like millions and millions and millions of times, right? It's like one of the top YouTube videos that are out there. And that gives you an idea of like, hey, businesses and individuals can live with a purpose that's differentiated, specific for them. And there's a lot of overlap because a lot of us have, you know, service involved in that of other people.
Sure.
And in fact, that's where you get fulfillment out of it. The goal is to live a fulfilling life.
Yes.
The goal is to live a life with purpose and intention, not just float through life, right? And so Christina and Hall and I, we like came together. We're also in Ignite You, where you and I met.
Right,
and,
right.
We were like, hey, let's check out this BD Local podcast thing. It sounds really fun. And we came here like, we're not going to sign up for anything. And then we're like, and then neither we just happened to come to the same time to learn about it. And then we're like, yeah, this sounds pretty cool. But we didn't commit right away because we wanted to have a mission, a purpose, like how we were going to do it. And so we spent some time talking about like the personal development books and everything.
Right.
And that's how it landed on that. The next book he has is Find Your Why. And you can do that with a partner. I don't recommend the two of you, because you know each other so well that you can influence the other person.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what it talks about is like experiences that you've had in your life and things that you've done where you felt fulfillment. And when you share a bunch of stories and take notes on the framework that he has, in a few hours, someone can help you literally create a mission statement for your life that goes from your entire life, from like your adolescence, teenage years throughout. And you might tweak some of the verbiage, but it'll be like the essence of that mission statement. And so mine is to teach and mentor individuals to make a positive impact in their lives and those they influence.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only like 4 hours work to get to that.
Yeah,
but
that's a
it
great
helps.
two sentences there.
Well, it's an interesting thing you bring up that because typically people talk about their whys and it's always family based. That like, hey, I'm doing it for my family. And so if you can expound on that, because I'm not sure that that's actually a viable way to do that, or
I have a theory.
Yeah.
Sadie does it.
It is always easy to say, yeah, I'm doing it for my family, for everything. So
I'm doing it to make a lot of money so I can have freedom.
Right.
Or you know, there's tons of stuff. I'm doing it for, it might get closer if I'm doing it for a charity, right? Or like cancer or whatever. And then people be like, so how come? You know, what happened in your life to make you want to do that? What led you down that direction? And then what you might find if you dig a little deeper and a little deeper, keep on asking how come, why, what caused that to happen? Why are you doing this? Why do you get the fulfillment and purpose out of that? Then they'd be able to find an underlying theme. And that's what I'm looking for. Because if you do your theme saying your family, what if a tragic event happened? You know, we had a guest early on in our show that her uncle, who was her father, he raised her, when he couldn't be a surgeon anymore, like 2 years later, he committed suicide.
That's awful.
He lost his purpose.
Wow.
But I bet you if he had dug a little deeper to find what kind of service that he was doing and what else he could do that would be along those lines, he could have found a new purpose that why sat on top of. So my theory is that if you look at like a pyramid or like a house with a foundation, is that you'll have different layers of why, right? Because you'll have your overarching theme, that's your life, right? And that can't be like a family or a job, right? It's always going to be in service of others. And that overarching foundational theme, I think it's like twofold. It's your experiences, good and bad, like someone being raped and having a tragic thing happen in their life. They could use that as fuel to serve other people and help other people get through it faster, you know, heal faster. And that's like taking a negative and turning it into like a life purpose,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
The second fold, you know, the good and the bad is the first fold, just your life experiences that envelop who you become as a person. There's a lot of self-actualization in this, like figuring out who you are. The second fold is I believe that God created us for a purpose, right?
Absolutely.
So when you look at those two things, like what was I created for? What were my life experiences? Some intertwining there, right? And how do I like have an overarching theme throughout my life? It's probably not something that a kid at 14 would figure out because they haven't had enough experiences, but they might, right? They might have had enough to be like, hey, these 3 times in my life, I was serving other people and it made me feel really good.
Right.
And even though there were 3 different experiences, they all had this kind of theme to it. Like that's what we're looking for. And that's how that works out so that you can be like, aha, this isn't really this big mystery, but now that I have that, I can look at what I'm choosing to do. Like you guys getting in front of people and serving, I know you do financial services and life insurance and stuff. There's deeper. It's about service.
Absolutely.
You know, your love for God, your love for people, it's about service behind it because you could do a million things. And you have some financial stability already. You could be fine without it, right? It's about serving other people, not just serving yourselves, right? And so for roofing, obviously, it's like it's not about swinging hammers or putting up shingles.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like how can I make a connection with people, whether they be like you guys, like right now, or the customers when I'm talking to a customer, or the guys that I'm working with, like mentoring the guys that are running the crews and stuff to try to help build them up for their businesses and themselves as individuals. You know, that's like I come alive doing that. Right? It's all about collaboration, not about competition.
Right. Because I think when we met, we sat and we had a one-on-one with our networking. And, you know, I wanted to know about your roofing business and I wanted to know this, but you had just expounded on so much other stuff that you were so much deeper than just, oh, I just have a roofing company. And it was actually, you know, fascinating. Because you're like, you had so many goals, so many dreams, so many, you know, all these other things that you wanted to do and bring it all together. But the source of it was helping others, just always giving back and always helping others. And you had said something about working for Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, you want to know a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you got this call, right?
I think Steve has a question.
Before we go on to that, but Garrett is a very good roofer. He's actually done 2 jobs for me. I did, so I'm just going to throw that out there. He has a great company. They did a house that we had in Tacoma that we had for sale and had to get it done as part of the final close. So he and his team jumped on there, and then because of that led to our church we recommended Garrett, and he came in and did a great job for our church. So it was in that aspect he has a great why, but also he has a fairly good business as well.
Thank you.
Shout out to Garrett.
So you got this call for giving back, which is your heart and soul.
Yeah,
But-
I didn't even know it was going to happen. It was another woman that we know worked for Habitat for Humanity, and she said, hey, will you come into our office? We want to talk to you about roofing. And I was like, okay. Like, I had no preconceived idea. Like, I'll probably help them out somehow, right? And I get there, and they're talking about a neighborhood. and then they bring in the guy that's in charge of all the construction, like building a whole neighborhood, like 11 homes. And I was like, on the spot, I just felt that intuition or Holy Spirit say, you need to step up to this. And I said, I'll do as many as you need me to do. So if it's all 11, I'll do them.
Wow.
And I'm like, that would bankrupt me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's not what it's about. I wasn't, like when I told my dad, who's definitely not that like type of mindset.
Is he a number cruncher?
He's 72 and he'd like step over a dollar to pick up a dime because
So
he sees the dime there in the mud. He'd be like, oh.
I'm sure you had some discussion with him on that. Yeah.
He was like, we can't do that. And I'm like, sure we can. I'm not expecting to do 11 in a month. They said it was going to be over the course of more than a year. Right? We'll make it. We'll make it. Right? And then on the last one, I got creative. I was telling you about this, Michele, that we did one a couple months ago. And I just called the foreman for like the 4 different crews that work for us. And I said, I'm not asking you to pay your crews or for us to pay them. I'm asking you to step up as a leader and come and serve. And most of them did. And one of the guys brought his entire crew. And I don't know if he paid them or just said, hey, it's our time to serve. I didn't ask. I was just grateful.
Yeah.
Because there was like, I don't know, like 9 of us or 11 of us. And we put on this entire roof by 2:00.
Yeah.
You know, because there was a ton of people there and all like highly skilled. I was probably the least skilled, you know, because they do it every day. I think I did one section and they did all the rest. You know?
Exactly.
But yeah, and so it was like, it was just really good because so on my vision or value statement, my vision statement that I say every morning, the very first thing I say when I start it in the morning or when we go to bed for Angela and I is I said, I am improving my leadership skills and helping others to do the same. And that's an essence of that.
Oh, I like that.
Right? So, because it's not just about what we can do or me paying the guys. On all the other houses, I just paid the guys cash or whatever to do the jobs. Right? And then a manufacturer that we partner with is called GAF. They're like the largest roofing manufacturer in North America. They covered their materials.
Wow.
So they reimburse me for it, thousands of dollars per roof. Like I pay for it up front, and then right now I have a credit for like a whole roof or at least their portion of it, which is a majority of it. Like 90% of the cost is the shingles and all of their accessories. So, and then there's all the other stuff that comes into play. But yeah, they covered it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's amazing. When you we talked about this, like when you give back and expect nothing in return, all of a sudden you get blessed.
Yes. So there's a law of reciprocity. And a really important thing that I'm learning, because I don't know it, I'm trying to do, is give without expectation in return. And the law of reciprocity will take care of itself. Meaning you might give to one person and actually receive some other way. Because the universe and God sees it all.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? So that's why and I'm also learning about tithing with church. Not that I didn't learn it 30 years ago or whatever growing up, but I'm learning that it's important because I always kind of thought, I'll give in any other way that I want. Right? And I still kind of think that, but I'm like, no, I'm also going to give to church.
Right.
You know, because I want that mission to be able to move forward as well. You know, so it's just about giving back to our communities and being a part of it, not just being like out there for just ourselves.
Right.
Well, actually, that's the theme of your show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that, like giving back. There you go.
And that's why you're on, Garrett. So.
Thank you.
Well, we just want to highlight businesses that do give back and share our same philosophy. You know, so we have one more thing that I know is dear to your heart, and so this would be your newlywed.
Oh,
correct.
Yeah. Yes.
Just see him light up. So tell us about Angela, how you guys met and got married in a global pandemic.
Oh,
what was the challenge with that?
Little, yeah. Now I kind of got what I wanted.
Okay.
You know, like when we first started dating, and it was like, this is cool. I think this is it, which I knew in like 4 days, by the way. But
Right.
I told her, I was like, I really don't want a big wedding. I just feel like it's wasting money and resources and what have you. And then she was like, I agree with you. And then like a month later, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
always-
And you guys had like over 300 people on your guest list?
Oh, yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah,
Easily,
we-
right?
We had, so she changed her mind, and I just figured, well, it's probably just something to get used to. I took it in stride. It was like, okay, it is
Steve
what it
can
is.
concur with that.
In fact, when we were on that Argosy type cruise thing with Karen and Sherry, they were talking about a cruise, right?
Right.
And it was like to Hawaii, and it was over Valentine's Day, and I was like, hey, let's do that instead of the wedding. It's the same amount of money. And she was like, nope. And I was like, I tried again. I was like, I failed. But I was like happy to do it, right? We went and we did all the different things as far as figuring out where to go. We got a facility down in Puyallup, and we had paid the deposit and actually the final fee and all that kind of stuff. And we had gone in and done like the layout for how everything was going to go. Yeah. And then the whole COVID virus and all the craziness happened.
Right.
And we were like not sure if it was going to be canceled, and not sure. And then finally it was like, yeah, we're going to give you your money back. And we'd said, well, how about not? Let's reschedule and just have a party on December 4th. I think that's the first Friday in December. 3rd or 4th, whatever that day is. So we have it scheduled then. Now who knows what's going to happen?
Right. Because we just rolled back to January, I heard.
It's like crazy. Anyways, but we'll leave that alone. Let it sit and let it marinate in its filth.
Exactly.
So we rescheduled just to have a party. But what I got what I wanted is I ended up with a small wedding. But it probably cost just as much. We rented a house. It was like an Olympia address, but it was like out on the peninsula, and it was on the water.
Yeah, I saw that,
and
yeah.
it was beautiful, and we just had a few people there, like family and who could come. Angela's sister couldn't come. She literally got sick like 2 days before and didn't know what it was, but it was like the flu. It wasn't the COVID, but it was a different. At that point, nobody knew what was going on. She wasn't going to come with a flu-like virus, right?
Correct.
So that really broke both of their hearts because they were doing that. And then we invited Karen and Sherry to take their place.
Yep.
Because we really felt like they brought us together. So that's how we met, was at Ignite You, our business networking, right?
It was
and
a long one-on-one, I heard. Something like that.
Yeah, it lasted a few months.
It keeps going.
It's still going, yeah. It's over a year later. So, yeah, we met there, but it was several months later. And then we had a one-to-one because I did my 6-minute presentation, and I sang Garth Brooks' Unanswered Prayers.
Right. That was amazing.
Thank you. I felt like I did terrible because it was like, even at the end, I handed my guitar to Karen and I said, that sounded much better in my living room. When I wasn't nervous and I had the sheet music on my iPad, and I can't remember who, but somebody was holding it for me. I stared at it, but it was blur. I didn't see it. I didn't miss anything. I was able to sing the words. I barely strummed the guitar, but it was like, oh my gosh, it was definitely nerve-wracking. She said that she offered me some essential oils, like, to calm down or whatever. Don't remember it. I don't remember it. So
a quick question. Who asked who on the one-on-one?
Oh, the one-to-one, right?
The
one-to-one. Later
One-on-one,
became that.
one-to-one,
I think she did. But she had messaged me like saying happy birthday on June 20th. Last year.
Yeah.
Not this, obviously, one before. And so I said, thank you, beautiful. And she was like, what? And then I sang on like the 26th or whatever day that was for Ignite You, and did my 6-minute presentation about kind of a lot of the same stuff that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
But like, the words are, the chorus is, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we have like ideas of where we're supposed to go in life, from when we were a kid to now, and they don't happen.
Yeah.
Right? And the different things that happen and brought us along the way aren't necessarily bad. We take what we can from it and get rid of the rest. Right?
Exactly.
So that's what I spoke about. and like it touched people's hearts. You know, there was like people that were crying and people that were touched by it, and it was like that was my intention. I really struggled because I didn't want to talk about business.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about something that would affect people, and I kind of circled back around and did a little bit, like a minute or something about the business, but most of it was about like what led me to that. You know, because I wanted to do my purpose, to teach and mentor,
Sure.
right? I didn't want to be there to like teach about roofs because roofs are boring.
Well, you know, we do this similar. You know, finance is boring and it's scary and nobody wants to talk about it. But, you know,
I
hopefully
think
with this show
it's more
going
important
on,
to get a connection with people.
it's a connection.
You know, so Zig Ziglar, I think it was, it said, people won't trust. What was it? They won't until they like and trust you. They won't do business with you until they like. What's that quote? I just had a brain fart on it.
Yeah, people don't care about how much you know until they
know how much you care.
Yeah.
And it's about getting people to like and trust you first,
Yeah.
right? And that's like if we're going to teach a sales class, that's it.
Sure.
Right? Like if I go and the person's just all business talking about roofs, then it becomes a commodity. And then they don't know the differentiations between the different roofing systems, the different installation stuff, the different products. So like you're just rolling the dice whether you're going to get the job or not.
Right.
Right? Because like if I'm literally like trying to offer them the best product for the budget, right? Then they have to trust that I'm doing that for them and give me the opportunity or actually talk back and forth with me on it, right? Because you could have the same shingle on top but use completely different other products and save thousands of dollars. But is it going to last as long, right? So I want what we've moved away from cheaper products, like just entirely. Like I now pretty much have 2 roofing products that I carry because I want to carry the best. And I'm like, well, if I lose some of the cheaper business, it didn't align with me.
Right.
You know, when you're putting it on, you're like,
Yeah.
it's okay. I just, who feels good about it's okay?
No, nobody. Nobody feels
Right?
good about that.
And then the consumer is just like, well, it's $13,000 for that roof or $15,500 for the other. And then they just look at their budgets and they're like, all they see is like 30-year or 40 or 50-year warranty, but they don't know anything behind what that actually means. Because do you remember Tommy Boy, the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cuss. He's talking to somebody, and he's got he's got a box. Like the guy's asking for a guarantee. He's like, I could take a dump in a box and slap a guarantee on it. It'd still be a guaranteed pile of right. So you know, so it's like nothing's like the same, right, between the different manufacturers and what they're going to stand behind and not, or like all their loopholes. They have millions of dollars that they pay for attorneys to have loopholes to not cover us.
Sure.
Like insurance.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I spent like $100,000+ on insurance, and we had a claim that may or may not have been our fault with like some mold in the attic, and I don't really think it was. I think it was an existing business or building structure problem. We're fixing it.
Yeah.
Right? And we're doing most of the work ourselves, and it's going to cost me $5,000 or $6,000, but I wholeheartedly believe that's what the insurance should have paid for. I paid them $100,000+, and then we get one issue in 10 years, and they're like, nope. And I'm like, well, yep, because on my value statement that's in the back of my cards, integrity, doing what's right regardless of the cost. Right?
Right.
So it's like, well, we'll just step up, and even if I'm not 100% convinced that we could have done anything any other way, we're going to do everything we can to make it right. You know? And that's just the way to live your life.
That is.
Exactly.
It is. Because
know?
then you can sleep at night.
Or not when you're looking at it thinking, wow, this is going to cost $20,000.
Right.
But,
You know, so.
Yeah, and that's our fight with insurance too, as well, because insurance companies, right? They're in the business to protect
Themselves.
themselves. Yeah, we could tell stories for like a half hour on
Yeah,
stuff.
so we-
Because mostly what I've heard from customers, but you know, car accidents, different things in life. But yeah, it's not fun.
It's called
but,
loopholes.
But nonetheless, so these big companies have some of the same type of thing. And one company we're carrying, so the GAF obviously is a good company because they stand behind their products really well, have the best warranty on the market for like longevity and covering materials and labor. against manufacturer defects. They're really cool. Malarkey is another company. They're out of
Malarkey.
Malarkey, yeah, it's hilarious.
Interesting,
People
yeah,
love
yeah.
that. They've been around for like 69 years or something, and they're out of like Oregon, Portland type area. And they're all about having like green roofs and really standing behind their products. And just like the character I see behind them, I'm like, okay, cool. So I've aligned myself with these two companies,
Okay.
and we're certified with both of them, so we can offer their full warranties.
Yeah.
And I like that.
That's awesome.
Right? Because then I
That's
feel
awesome.
like I want to feel good about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to align with who we are and who I am. You know, so and then when we're giving something to somebody, obviously we're getting something in return because we're in business. You know,
Right. Right.
You know, it's funny, especially with roofing, because having been in the construction business or deal with construction people, and when it comes to roof, a lot of people are just cost conscious and want to just say, hey, I only want to spend this type of money, but you get, it really changes. Just the house that I had in Tacoma, that they didn't do a couple things, and we were about ready to sell the house, and the inspector came in and said that he needed to get some roof work done. The flashing wasn't put in correctly, and it was all. But Garrett came in and fixed it, and I didn't. I just trusted the other guy to do it, and it should have been a 25-year roof, but it was only 10 years. So
yeah.
I agree with you that integrity and sleeping, because people go,
Sleeping's important.
I know that.
Although with a baby on the way, we'll see.
I know. You should start setting your clock every 2 hours just to get used to that. Maybe, I don't know.
We're saying we're just, what's that word where you're like speaking into it?
Speaking into existence.
Yeah, something like speaking into existence. There's a phrase behind it, but we're saying we're manifesting.
Manifesting.
We're
is the word,
manifesting this baby's going to sleep through the night early from the beginning.
I see it. I see
Yeah.
peace.
Oh, I think I'm going to add that to our morning thing. Like, and the baby's going to sleep through the night.
Okay, so
But wait a
so
second.
hold on. So just 1 second.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is you're going to get that perfect baby, and they're going to sleep through the night, and you're going to be, oh my God, look at this. This is
then we're gonna have
perfect
another baby.
We should have another one. Watch out for the second one.
Sadie's shaking her head, yes.
So
I really
anyway.
appreciate you guys having me on the show today.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh, this
great.
is great.
It's been awesome. Thank you so much.
How do you guys give back? What is this, the show? Is that what
This is the show. So we give back. Well, our company is as always. What we do is we stand by, simple financial concepts for everybody. Because most of the finance companies are only geared to people who have wealth and let me manage your wealth. And so what we do is we manage people to create their own wealth. And so
a lot
we
of
have-
education then?
So we do a bunch of education, bunch of tips on our show, so that way, they can take advantage of it and not have to pay for something that
Are you
they
going to
should
do a tip
already
right
know.
now?
Yep.
Oh, let's hear it.
Oh.
I'm excited.
There you go.
Okay. Well.
Steve's got to find his place in the notes.
Well,
Yeah.
the question was we were going to do a separate, but that's all right. I'll do it right now.
Just do it
Okay.
right now.
Hold on 1 second. Let me pull out.
And thank you guys. My life insurance is with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank
So we have that. So, and I'll have to get another one at some point too, obviously with the kid on the way. But I have a policy so that my dad, you can even be looking at that, Steve, try to find your place. He's like, oh, I'm listening to you.
I know, yeah. This is dead air.
And
So the good thing with
I'm
that.
a filling of the air
I know.
in a positive way to
right.
say they're good to do business with, folks.
Okay. Good. Exactly.
Okay, your teachable moment.
Yeah. So anyway, Garrett, this is we have our top 10 common financial mistakes that we like to talk to people about. So,
But we're only going to share 5.
only going to share 5 right now. First one is excessive spending, just going out and not being aware of like the power of spending money and what it actually could mean long term. Like, say, if you go out to dinner or whatever, spend $25 a week just going out. Actually, if you save that would add up to about $1,300 for the year, which is actually a mortgage payment. So is just being aware of your going out to a coffee and ordering a $4 or $5 drink. Is it worth it? It all depends. If your business is doing great and you're doing fantastic, fine. But if you're looking for ways to cut back,
Well, I think of it as this way, Steve. So working in Seattle, all of us would take a lunch break and we'd go out to the local places and stuff like that. And so I was calculating how much money I spent in the 10 years. And I'm not going to tell anybody this because Steve's sitting next to me. But in 10 years working in Seattle, going out to lunch 4 days a week, an average of $8 a day, times 52, times 10. That's more than a mortgage payment right there.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't bother.
Way
I
too
gotta
much.
get my
So think
phone.
about what we're doing.
And there we go. I'll go to number 2 on that one.
Yeah, move on.
Never-ending payments. So I know a lot of people do a lot of subscriptions, services, Netflix,
Magazines,
Comcast.
Verizon.
So you have to know what's important to you. Some people say no TV. Their Comcast is done or whatever company that they have, and they use Netflix, and that's cool. But if you're having both, you just have to know what's important to you, and pare down. If you can save $100 a month or even $50 a month. Actually, we have a thing where if you save $50 a month, and you kept that going for 20 years, you got a college fund right there. So.
Simple.
It's
right?
just thinking like an investor basically, as opposed to just being a consumer. And that being said, it's living on borrowed money. You're paying double-digit interest rates on credit cards. So what you think is a good deal, or if you buy something on a store credit card, then that's 24% interest. And if you don't pay that back, that all of a sudden you bought 2 pairs of pants instead of one. And you only have one.
Exactly.
Buying a new car, the main thing is people can tend to afford, they can afford the payment, but can they afford the car? That's what I ask you. Can you afford the extra insurance, the gas, the upkeep of that car? So cars are essential, but I know we see too many times of big, huge vehicles in
When
apartment
an SUV
complex.
or Hummers were really, important, and then there was the gas hike to almost $4 a gallon, and no Hummers went anywhere, and there they sat, and nobody could get rid of them, and you just got to watch what you're paying for.
Main thing is also, and another thing is now with the rise in property values, using your home equity as
Ooh, that's
As a bank.
huge.
As a bank.
Yeah, we saw that back in the late 2000s.
Right?
and we've had friends who, just keep pulling it out. I don't know how they can still do it, but
I don't know. They can't sell their house. They have to actually pay someone to take their house now because they've leveraged it so much and used their house as a bank. So that's our tips for today.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you. Thanks, Garrett, for coming on our show. Super excited about you and Angela and the new baby. And, just keep up with your podcast.
yeah,
Thank you, guys.
and keep living with purpose, and that's very inspirational. And this is Steve and Michele, and if you have any other questions or want more tips, please call the number, and we'd love to chat with you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All